Okay, so if I go to the Visual Studio and did I do a little bit of operator overloading with you guys in last time or no? Let me see, CS440. Fall 2015, right? We did indexer test in university. Okay. So anyway, let me quickly create a operator overloading project. So if I go File, New Project, okay, Windows Forms application, and let me go to browse to our 440 directory. And suppose this is OP overload project and Windows Forms application C#. Okay, so once we click, okay, so then let me right click on name of the project and add a new class. So right click on name of the project, add class. Okay, so I'll create a simple case over here. So suppose it is currency.cs. Okay, so now let me just put $, and then right click on it, refactor encapsulate field. And sense. Right click, refactor encapsulate field. Okay, and then left-hand side, right-hand side. All right, so now we will do a simple, let me call it currency result. Result.sense is greater than 100. Or let me just leave it as greater than 100 for the time being. And in that case, also dollars equal to left-hand side $dollars plus right-hand side $dollars plus 1. And then there's that sense equal to there's that sense minus 100. And then else lastly return the result. Okay, so just like we discussed, this is our code for the operator plus, right? So at first it seems correct. Anybody can spot what mistake I made over here?
Greater than
Yes.
equal to.
Is greater than equal to, right? So if we test it, for most cases it will come out correct. Remember, as we discussed, that it's always a good practice that you provide an override of the toString method. So if we do public override string, oops, this string,
There's a Boolean.
string, and then if I double click on it, it will write the signature, right? So over here we can do something, return a dollar sign plus dollars dot toString plus sense dot toString. Okay. So anyway, so now let's create first just a simple of our own, not a unit test, but our button test. So if I go to the toolbox, go to the all Windows forms, double click on a button. Okay, so now let's just call it BTN test 1. And a text property of test 1. Okay, so now if I double click on the button, okay, let me create currency C1 equal to new currency. Let's say, I didn't put a constructor over there, right? So let's go add a constructor. And as we discussed, typically we put 2 constructors, right?
Yes.
So we will put public currency. Remember, the constructor has the same name as the class name. So this is our default constructor. If you recall, the minute we provide a constructor with our own parameters, the default constructor is taken away, so you have to write the default constructor as well. So public currency, let's say in dollars, and this dot dollars equal to dollars, and this dot cents equal to cents. This dot cents. Okay, so anytime we use this keyword, remember that means it will be using the field inside the class, correct? And this one is whatever is coming as a parameter. Okay.
So do we have to check the data enter in dollars and cents as well? Like if somebody enters like negative cents and positive dollars?
That's a good idea. Let me talk about that in a second. Okay. The answer is yes, and I'll show you what's the good way to do it. Okay. So anyway, now let's go to the form 1. If I double click on the button, it will take me to the button handler, right? So now we can create some currency. For example, what did we say? $5.30. And currency C2 equal to new currency, let's say $8.80. All right. And then currency C3 equal to C1 plus C2, and let's say lesser box dot show C3 dot toString. Okay, so if we try testing it, Well, what answer do we expect? $14.10, right? So if I run it, and if I click on the button, so you can see it seems to be correct, right? Okay, but like I said, there are many, you guys already have spotted the potential problem over here, right? So, so that's why we do unit testing, where we create many tests. So we will create a test where we do simple addition, like $5.20, $6.30. We'll create a test where one of the cases exceeds the cents amount, right? We'll create a test where one of them is zero. We'll create another test where both of them are zero. So all possible variations, we create a test, then we run the test, and then tomorrow the idea is, even if somebody made a change, we will run the unit test and verify that it indeed is producing the correct answer, right? Okay, so let me give you first concept is, okay, see, if you take a look over here, we have a solution, and solution has one project in it, right? Some time ago I had hinted to you guys that a solution in Visual Studio can contain many projects, okay? And why do we want more than one project in a solution? Of course, one example is like we may want a test project, and okay, so for example, we may have a regular project and a test project, right? So e.g. Okay, so what's the benefit of putting both a regular project and a test project? Okay, the projects in a solution can be easily debugged.